Everything in this video is just based on my experience. I've been raising pigs, rescuing pigs, adopting and rehoming and everything else pig for the last decade. And this is just kind of what I've learned along the way. I'm constantly educating myself though, and honestly, the best recommendations for pigs always seem to be changing a little bit. So just be sure to do your own research, consult a vet. It's been brought to my attention that while I have posted several videos that discuss specific pig-related care over the course of the channel, that at this point, I think I'm around 50 videos total for first-time visitors or people that are looking for information about pigs. It can be a little bit of a daunting task to go back through all of them. I'm going to basically give you the bare minimum of information in this video. Highly encourage you, if you are really wanting to know more about pigs or considering adding one to your family, or you have one and you have questions, I do think that the other videos are worth watching, certainly. That's why I made them and posted them, especially because I am just kind of going to briefly skim over each one of these topics, and I go into lengthy detail in the other videos. Is a pig a good pet or the right pet for you? As pigs become more popular as household pets, I think there's some misconceptions about them being comparable to a dog or a cat. That is not exactly true. And educating people about how unique pigs are. Pigs have their own unique set of needs, and while in some ways they're as easy as a dog or a cat, or even easier, in other ways, they're a lot more challenging. They're a lot more intelligent. I'm sorry, I love my dogs. Any dog or cat lovers, it is just kind of fact. Pigs are smarter than dogs or cats. They are also more emotional. They're kind of on the same level as human toddlers. So think about that. You're committing to a human toddler mentality for the duration of the pig's life. And that can make it really rewarding and amazing. And also sometimes you're dealing with a terrible 2-year-old essentially who's throwing a tantrum for no good reason. So to have a really amazing pig, it takes a lot of commitment, especially in the beginning when they're like a sponge and they're learning what behaviors are okay, what isn't, just how to interact with people, to trust people, all of that. In the beginning, it takes a lot more than I feel like a puppy or a kitten does, for instance. Puppies and kittens are pretty much born friendly and willing to interact with people. Pigs are not. And so odds are good when you bring your pig home, they're not gonna like you. And you are going to feel overwhelmed. And if you don't kind of step up right from the beginning, you could very easily end up with a pig that you can't deal with down the road. Now, in terms of their daily interaction needs and the ease of potty training them, their exercise requirements, things like that, I do feel they're easier than dogs or cats. For the most part, my pigs are happy to kind of just be lazy. Every once in a while, they'll get an energy spurt, as the zoomies run around, be crazy, play with something. But for the most part, they just want to be fed, get their bellies scratched, chatter amongst themselves, and sleep a lot. As far as socializing them goes, trying to get them over that behavior, whole video about this, but you need to really interact with them pretty much nonstop. They're not going to like it at first, most likely. They're probably going to protest and scream and run and nip at you and who knows what else. You pretty much have to just ignore it. It's a real test of your patience. But you need to show them they're very sensitive, so they can definitely kind of sense how you're feeling if you're getting frustrated or angry with them, and that's only going to feed what is normally just fear-based behavior. So you need to remain calm, and you need to carry them and interact with them as much as possible. Going slow at first, of course, while they settle in, but then eventually carry them around everywhere as much as you can. Put in earplugs if you have to, because they will scream. Are mini pigs really mini? The scale is huge. And while your mini pig may stay under 50 pounds comfortably and be healthy, your mini pig may get to be hundreds of pounds. Genetics, breeding, do your research, and be prepared for either scenario. There is a specific diagram that I refer a lot of people to when they are asking me if they're feeding their pig too much or not enough. And it's just a mini pig body score, essentially. Compare your pig to that. There is no good way for me to tell you exactly what you should feed your pig or what amount to feed your pig, because they all vary so greatly. There's not really a standard in mini pigs yet. They haven't been around all that long. Each pig has, different bloodlines and genetics and different needs. So the best thing I can say is compare your pig to the body score sheet and kind of decide from there if they're getting too much or not enough. or if they're looking just right. With that being said, their diet, very important. Pigs make a great option as a meat source if you're into that kind of thing. Obviously, I don't eat pigs because they get fat really easily and quickly and basically on air. You don't want an obese pig because that's not healthy for a pig, just like it's not healthy for any species to be overweight. There are commercially available mini pig foods, not to be confused with hog feeds, which you absolutely want to avoid because those are made for, first of all, huge farm hogs, but also to fatten them up. So stay away from that. Do not give dog food, do not give cat food, anything, not made for pigs. The commercially available processed pig pellets are an option, and some pigs live a very healthy, happy life on them. So if that's what works into your lifestyle, it is okay. They still need to get fresh vegetables. If your pig isn't into that when you first bring them home, try heating stuff up, try pureeing stuff. Anything that's warm and kind of soft and easier to eat, usually they'll be more inclined to try than like a raw piece of broccoli. That can be their main source of grain, basically. There's also an alternative company that I've only become familiar with them in the last couple of months, and that is Sharp's Mini Pig Town, I believe. And they offer a more natural diet. I'll put the link in the description. I'll link everything I mentioned in the description. I've been really impressed with the quality of their feed. I don't give it every day, but here and there when you don't want to have to cook food for your pig, essentially, it is a great option and far better than the commercial processed pellets. The most balanced diet that I have found is to feed them natural or raw. You can find a lot of websites that kind of give you a rundown on what that entails, but basically whole grains and vegetables, minimal fruit, some protein, all of that. And again, I have a video that goes into detail about that, but I would highly suggest it if you have the time. I have people ask me if I recommend male or female pigs. I don't have a preference at all. I hear arguments to both sides. I think as long as you're spaying or neutering them, there really isn't much of a difference. The only thing I might say is that girls can be slightly bigger divas, I guess. And in my pig herd, for instance, the girls are always in charge. But beyond that, if they weren't spayed and neutered, the males develop a musk at a pretty young age, so it's important to get them neutered as soon as they're about 5 pounds, and it's safe to do so for the anesthesia. And girls will get very sassy if they are left not spayed. Fix them, and I don't think either gender is better than the other. Potty training, similar to a dog in some ways. Pigs instinctually are very clean, so even as newborn piglets, they'll run from their mom to whatever side of their enclosure is designated as the potty place, as long as you keep them in a small space to begin with, whether it's a playpen, a puppy pen, I'll link that below, the one that I like to use, or even just a small bathroom or something with tile floor, pick up any rugs, and then put down a potty pad. I've tried litter boxes with shavings and all of that stuff. They always make a mess. Best luck I've had is with turf pads and potty pads. Put that in a corner, they'll pretty much instinctually go over there. It's away from their bedding, it's away from their food and their water. It's the best place to potty. So there really won't be much training involved as far as that goes. Now when you start expanding on that area, as they become familiar with you and they get a little older and they can hold it longer, you just need to watch them closely. Because if the space gets too big, they're kind of lazy and they don't like to hold it long. So they might start seeking out other locations, usually hidden. They like to do it in corners or behind something where it's out of the way and nobody has to mess with it. So you'll have to start watching for that. If you see it, once they pick a place, odds are good they're gonna keep going back to it. So you can either start back at the beginning, square one, in a small space, or, which I have kind of become accustomed to, I will either make that another potty place, especially if they're young, because I know they can't hold it, or I will block it off somehow, move a piece of furniture there, or whatever is necessary to deter them from going there. As they get older, they can hold it a lot longer, and a lot of them will even house train themselves and start asking to go outside instead. They prefer to go outside when possible. A list of things you should have before you bring your pig home. You're gonna want some kind of playpen or pet pen, fenced panel area of some kind. If you don't have a small laundry room or bathroom you're gonna be keeping them in, you're gonna need the puppy pads or the fake turf pads. Warm blankets, of course, mine even. Some of them have gotten heating pads or heated blankets. If your pig is being really restless at night, a lot of times just offering something that's extra warm to snuggle up in will put them right to sleep all night long. Food, like I said, you could do the pellets, or you can get the Sharps mini pig pellets, or you could do the all natural route, the brown rice, the whole grain pasta, vegetables, all of that. I like to use baby wipes. You only want to bathe them a couple times a month because they have a really prone to dry skin. For that, I found using like a spray coconut oil is great. I also just ordered a specific coat spray that I'll kind of review and see if I like it or not. But for in between, because they're gonna have messy snouts all the time, I like to use baby wipes. And then for the shampoo, when it is bath time, use a very gentle, mild human soap shampoo. I like to use Dr. Bronner's or baby shampoo. Vet care, like I said, you definitely want to have them spayed or neutered. Your vet will tell you which vaccines they recommend then. I feel like, as is the case with vaccines in all other pets and people as well, it's kind of a personal choice. Listen to what your vet says, do a little research. Some pigs, if they're traveling a lot and they're around a lot of other pigs or whatever the case may be, they may need more regular vaccines more frequently. Some pigs need the initial set and not much else. And even within the pig community, there's a lot of debate about which ones are necessary, how often do you give them, all of that. That's up to you. There are vaccines available for pigs. You and your vet can decide if your pig needs them and which ones. They need to be wormed regularly, and this is something that I find a lot of pig owners don't know. And because I take in so many rescues, I am constantly dealing with the aftermath of, because people haven't kept a regular worming schedule, and I am brought pigs that are riddled with worms or topical parasites. They get mites, they get pig lice, and I am just constantly treating it around here, and people just don't know. And you could do it at home. You don't have to take them to the vet. The vet can give you the specific instructions as far as dosage and how to do it and everything. It's very simple, it's very affordable, but it needs to be kept up with. If you get your pig and they haven't been wormed at all, immediately get information on how to do it. And then from that point on, every 6 months, and there's 2 different kinds of wormers you'll want to give. The other thing that they need pretty regularly is hoof maintenance. And again, I see that neglected very often. There's a couple of my pigs that have trouble maintaining it themselves, that are kind of feral, wild, hard to handle. And so I understand the struggle, especially if you've taken on a pig that isn't used to it. It takes multiple people, and the pig is traumatized and screaming the entire time. It's not easy. So I highly recommend, if you're getting a young pig, start working with them on it immediately. It's gonna make it a lot easier down the road. So you'll need to have them filed. The other option, you can take them to the vet and have them do it. Sometimes they will even sedate a pig to do it. It just makes it a little easier for everybody in some cases. I use just a metal nail file on most of them. Mine from a young age are used to it, and I touch their hooves a lot, and I'm constantly messing with them. The issue is if you don't do it, their hooves will get way too long, and they'll start to kind of alter the way that they walk and move, and it can have lasting effects on their muscles and their ligaments and all of that. So you really need to keep up with that. Like I said, this is a very quick, just 101 overview, basics, starting point for your mini pig research. If it has piqued your interest, if you would like to know a little bit more about any of the things I've talked about, there's more in-depth detailed videos if you just scroll back on my channel a little bit. And Google everything, take in all the different sources, all the different information, and talk to a medical professional. Otherwise, if I have not answered your question yet, if you need more information on something, just leave it in the comments. If you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications if you enjoyed this video. Kind of become known for my pig related content, and I love that, to be honest, because I love pigs. But I have a lot of other animals, a whole farm slash almost a zoo at this point. I talk about all of them. It's mostly just a silly animal channel, I feel like. I never do outros, so when I do, I pat myself on the back because I remembered to do it. And like this video if you found it helpful or informative.